D. Mitchell, let me say this because the thing is about it is this: what's good for the goose is good for the gander. So you're saying that PBC let these guys fight once a year? We've heard Band Up say Blue Blood Sports TV said that about letting PBC allowing their fighters to fight one time a year, and everybody's criticizing PBC. But look, and you just said it, but watch this though. Terrence Crawford did the same thing with Top Rank, and you didn't have all of that to say then, D. Mitchell, and neither did Blue Blood or anybody else. And let me give you an example.
We're
Since
talking
we
about
talking
the
about
whole roster, the whole
no,
roster,
hear me out. Hear
except
me
for
out.
Pitbull Cruz.
Hear,
Everybody else
hear,
fights like once every
no,
other year,
no
except for
problem.
Pitbull Cruz. He fights like
No,
6 times a year.
no problem. Now we're gonna take Terrence Crawford's last four fights when he was over there with Top Rank and ESPN to prove Rachel's point as well. When Terrence Crawford fought Mean Machine in 2019, he fought Kell Brook literally a year later. Let me show you. He fought Mean Machine on December the 14th of 2019. The following year, in November, on the 14th in 2020, he fought Kell Brook. The following year, he fought November the 20th, 2021, against Sean Porter. He was fighting once a year, and he was fulfilling his mandatory obligation with the WBO. So why is it different when
That's
Terrence
fine.
Crawford
I
did
don't
it and nobody and
know.
everybody else said, hold on. Why is it different when Terrence Crawford fights once a year to fulfill his WBO obligation, his mandatories? Why is it different for Crawford than it is with any fighter over at PBC fighting once a year?
I don't mind Errol if he needs to take a year. The big boys is fine. Do what the big boys is fine. Do what you gotta do.
But you said big fights.
Mm,
You said only the big fights should be once a year. And you know Sean Porter, Kell Brook, or Mean Machine was a big fight for Crawford. Even you know that.
no, what I'm saying is, it's not just the big. It's not over there. None of them fight more than like once a year.
What difference do it make? Crawford didn't either.
They're not like I said. I don't mind. So if you're putting all those guys on the same level as Errol and Crawford, then that's fine. We just disagree on that. I'm not putting them on the same level. If the big guy wants to take a year off, fine, because he's making the most money out of
They're
all of them.
pay-per-view
I would
attractions,
assume.
is what I'm saying. They're pay-per-view attractions. They have a different audience they're appealing to. That's what I'm trying to
Okay.
say.
So okay, I guess we have to agree to disagree because I'm coming from a fan's perspective.
I know
I'm
you
coming
are.
from a fan's perspective, and
I
to
know,
me, it's
but I'm
water. When maybe you're managing too many people if you can't get them fights. If they're not fighting, they ain't making no money. We can agree on that, right?
right. So Crawford, but
So so let,
Crawford
let
didn't.
so let so let's take. Go ahead.
But Crawford didn't fight more from 2019. Now he fought two or three times, but after he fought Mean Machine, the next two fights that he had was once a year. But he's not being
But who was
criticized.
they? But I'm not criticizing Errol. Crawford is not top rank. I'm talking
I'm
about
talking about what he
PBC.
was. Right, but when Crawford was with
Still,
ESPN in Top Rank, he was fighting once a year before he left them for 3 years. And you didn't say none of that about Crawford, but you saying that about PBC guys fighting once a year. It's the same thing.
it's not the same thing. Again, it's a nuance. It's nuance because I'm saying Crawford's top guy, top rank outside of what Fury, basically top guy. We just for this argument here.
Okay. Yeah.
Errol over there, PBC. You could argue it's Charlo, but it's probably Errol. At what I'm thinking. If they want to do the 1 year thing, I get it. I'm talking about the guys underneath. Who's that? You got other guys, even in the zone. You got Blair. You got Blair. He's over there screaming, "Let me go! I want to fight." They're only focusing on the top guys that they can, get that little 70, 80 out of you, and everybody else is cold except for Pitbull Cruz. I'm saying that model to me is messed up. There should be more fights. It don't have to be the big guys, but just in general, it should be more fights, and it ain't. Those guys are complaining that even the big guys are like, "Hey, I want to fight more." And so what I'm saying is, How do we rectify that? How do we keep if the guys who work there, multiple guys are saying, I want to fight more. That tells me something's going on with that model. It may be great for the Charlos and the Spences, but once you get out of that range there, what's happening with the other 90 guys that he's managing?
They're fighting. They're fighting. They're
Where?
fighting.
Where? I don't.
Look
Where
up.
they at? I don't see them.
I don't know why. All them guys you talk
Where?
about
Where? But
over at
tell me a
PBC are
channel
fighting.
that the other 90 are fighting on. Where? We don't see them. You don't see them.
All of the fighters that we are talking about in this dialogue right now, they all have those opportunities to fight.
We
All
talking
of them.
about. We talking about PBC. Where are those 90 fighters that he's the advisor to?
They're fighting on regular network on Showtime.
Where?
I'm just telling you,
Oh,
they're fighting on regular network. They're
okay.
not pay-per-view attractions yet. They got to come up the same way that Spence and them came up. Free viewership to the casual fans, work their way up, and then
Only one I
they'll
see is Boots.
Isn't Frank Martin on the July 15 card and that's a free show?
yes.
Okay, well there's another one.
Who knows? Nobody knows Frank Martin. That don't
Because you
move the
have to
needle.
build him and that's why he's on free Showtime.
Right.
So I guess in
They know
2 years
they
now.
wouldn't pay for him.
So in a year, Frank Martin's gonna be he's
No,
gonna be
it's
pay
not
per
gonna
view.
it's not gonna take 1 year.
Right.
No.
Right.
Get the point I'm making. Get the point I'm making. Frank Martin is a pay per view fighter. He
I didn't say
projects
No.
to
that.
be a pay per view fighter.
No.
No,
No,
he's
that's
not.
no. Not now. Of course not.
Oh, but does he project to be one? I'm saying you project him to be a pay per view fighter.
I guess that's possible. It's a possibility. We got to see what the
He's gonna.
fans want. The fans are the ones that dictate the price points. You wouldn't even pay for Terrence Crawford. You said you ain't even pay. You a fan of Crawford. You ain't even pay to see him fight Khan, and you a fan of him.
Well, I wasn't at home. I was out and about. I would have paid, but I mean,
You can
I
still
don't
pay
know. We
your
just gotta.
money as a fan and just support it without even
That's
watching the
true.
fight or watch it on replay.
That's true, but that ain't realistic for me. If I'm not gonna watch, I'm gonna pay. But